I was sitting at Thanksgiving dinner when my sister Vivian said it. We were all there. My parents, my brother Felix, Vivian and her husband, and me. The table was perfect. Crystal glasses, china plates, a 20-pound turkey nobody would finish. Vivian was talking about her new promotion, her voice carrying across the room like she was giving a presentation. Some of us work hard to get ahead, she said, glancing at me. And some of us just coast through life hoping things work out. My mother laughed, not a real laugh. The polite kind that means she agrees but won't say it directly. My father kept eating, like he hadn't heard anything, but he had. Felix smirked into his wine glass. And me? I sat there, fork frozen halfway to my mouth, feeling the familiar weight of being the family disappointment. Vivian continued. I mean, we all make choices. Some of us choose success. She looked directly at me now. And some of us choose whatever this is. She gestured vaguely at me. My sweater from Target, my lack of design or anything, my life. I looked around that dining room, taking in every face. My mother's tight smile, my father's deliberate ignorance, Felix's smug satisfaction, Vivian's performance of superiority. They'd been doing this for years. Small comments, veiled insults, comparisons that always left me at the bottom. I was the art teacher who made $42,000 a year. Vivian was the corporate lawyer making $300,000. Felix was in finance, pulling in $500,000. My parents were both doctors, retired now but still very aware of status and success. And me? I painted watercolors and taught middle schoolers about color theory. I was the embarrassment they tolerated at family gatherings, the cautionary tale they whispered about to friends. Our youngest never quite found her way, my mother would say, shaking her head sadly. What they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that my grandfather had left me everything when he died 5 years ago. $2 billion in a trust they couldn't touch, couldn't access, couldn't even know existed until I chose to reveal it. And I hadn't. I'd kept teaching, kept living simply, kept letting them think I was struggling, because I wanted to see who they really were. Now I knew. My name is Aurora Wells. I'm 34 years old, and I've been hiding $2 billion from my family for 5 years. My grandfather, Otto Wells, was a tech investor who made his fortune in the 80s. Quiet money, old money. The kind nobody talks about but everyone respects. When he died, he left specific instructions. His estate would be divided, but the bulk, $2 billion, would go to me. Not my siblings, not my parents. Me. Because, as his letter explained, I was the only one who ever visited him without asking for money. The only one who called just to talk. The only one who loved him, not his wallet. The trust activated when I turned 30. My lawyer, Howard Kane, called me into his office and explained everything. You're a billionaire, Aurora. What do you want to do? I thought about it for exactly 10 seconds. Nothing. I want to do nothing. Nothing? I want to keep teaching, keep living in my apartment, keep being exactly who I am. Howard raised an eyebrow. And your family? They don't need to know. After that Thanksgiving dinner, I sat in my car for 20 minutes before driving home. Vivian's words echoed in my head. Some of us choose success. I wanted to march back in there and tell them the truth, that I had more money than all of them combined, that grandfather had chosen me, not them, that their precious success meant nothing. But I didn't. I drove home to my one-bedroom apartment, made tea, and called Howard. I need you to do something. What's that? I want to set up anonymous scholarships, full rides, art programs, low-income students. How much? $50 million to start. He paused. Aurora, are you sure? Very sure. And Howard, make sure none of it traces back to me. Over the next year, I funded 12 schools, built 3 art centers, provided supplies to programs that couldn't afford them. I changed hundreds of lives, and my family had no idea. They still thought I was barely getting by. 6 months after that Thanksgiving, Vivian called me. She never called unless she needed something. Aurora, hey, listen, I'm putting together a charity gala for the firm. Could you donate? Even like $50 would help. $50. I just donated $10 million to children's hospitals. Sure, I said. I can do that. Great. And maybe don't mention the amount to mom and dad. I don't want them to think you're struggling more than you are. Of course. She hung up quickly. I stared at my phone, feeling something shift inside me. These people didn't just underestimate me. They pitied me. I called Howard. I want to buy something. What? Vivian's law firm is in the Mercer building downtown, right? Yes. Buy it. Howard laughed, then realized I wasn't joking. You want to buy the building her firm leases? Yes, and don't tell them who owns it. Just increase the rent by 20% next quarter. Aurora, they want to see struggle? Let them struggle. It wasn't revenge, not yet. It was just the beginning of something I hadn't named yet. Small things kept piling up. Family group chats where they discussed their successes and never asked about mine. Holiday cards that said the successful Wells children with photos of Vivian and Felix. My picture wasn't included. My mother's birthday party where she thanked her accomplished children and skipped right over me. Felix bought a Tesla and posted about it constantly. Vivian bought a vacation home in Aspen. My parents upgraded to a luxury condo. And me, I kept teaching, kept painting, kept living in my small apartment with my rescue cat and my secondhand furniture. They thought I couldn't afford better. The truth was, I didn't want better. I wanted simple, real, honest. But I started documenting everything. Every slight, every insult, every moment they made me feel invisible. Not for revenge, for clarity. So when the moment came, and I knew it would, I'd remember exactly why I did what I did next. 2 years after grandfather died, my parents asked me to lunch. Just the three of us. I thought maybe they wanted to reconnect, actually talk to me like I mattered. We met at an expensive restaurant I couldn't supposedly afford. They ordered wine, appetizers, entrees that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. Then my father cleared his throat. Aurora, we want to talk to you about something important. Okay. My mother leaned forward. We're concerned about your future, your financial future. I stayed quiet. You're not getting any younger, my father continued, and teaching doesn't exactly build wealth. We think you should consider a career change, something more stable. I like teaching. That's admirable, my mother said, her tone suggesting it absolutely wasn't. But it's not practical. We'd like to help you get back on track. Back on track. Like I derailed. I'm fine, I said calmly. They exchanged looks. Honey, we know things are tight. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I smiled. I'm really okay. They didn't believe me. They paid for lunch and left me with a pamphlet for career counseling. I threw it away in the restaurant bathroom. My brother Felix got engaged that year to a woman named Colette who came from oil money. The engagement party was obscene. Ice sculptures, live band, champagne that cost more per bottle than I made in a week. I wore a simple dress, brought a modest gift, sat at a table in the back. Vivian was there with her husband, holding court, talking about cases and billable hours. My parents floated through the crowd like celebrities. And Felix? He gave a speech thanking everyone who'd supported him. His parents, his sister Vivian, his future in-laws. He looked right past me, didn't say my name, didn't acknowledge I existed. After the party, Vivian cornered me by the coat check. Aurora, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you doing okay, like financially? I'm fine. She lowered her voice. Because if you need help, you can ask. We're family. The condescension in her tone made my jaw tight. I don't need help. Okay, but if you do... She handed me a business card, her financial advisor. Just in case? I took the card, smiled, threw it away on my way out. 3 years after hiding the money, I started making moves. Quiet moves, strategic moves. I bought the building where Felix's company had their headquarters, raised the rent, bought shares in Vivian's law firm's biggest client, influenced decisions that made her cases harder to win. I wasn't sabotaging them, just making their lives slightly more complicated. Meanwhile, I expanded my anonymous giving, funded entire art programs in underserved districts, built a community center in my grandfather's name, donated $15 million to medical research. My family had no idea. They still thought I was counting pennies. Howard called me quarterly with updates. Your portfolio is up to $2.3 billion now. Good. Aurora, when are you going to tell them? When they push too far. And when is that? I didn't know yet, but I knew it was coming. People like my family always push too far. It's in their nature. The breaking point came at my parents' 40th anniversary party. The whole family was there. Extended relatives, family friends, everyone dressed to impress. Vivian gave a toast, beautiful words about family and legacy and carrying on traditions. Felix gave one too, about success and making our parents proud. Then my father stood up. I want to thank my children, Vivian, who's made partner at 36, Felix, who's built an incredible career in finance. You've both made us so proud. He paused, looked at me, and Aurora, who's doing her best? The room laughed, polite, awkward laughter. My mother smiled. Vivian looked embarrassed for me. Felix raised his glass, and something inside me snapped. Not loudly, not visibly, but completely. I stood up, set down my glass, and walked out. My mother called after me. Aurora, don't be dramatic. I kept walking, got in my car, drove home, and called Howard. It's time. Time for what? Tell them everything. Howard scheduled a family meeting. Estate matters regarding Otto Wells, the email said. My parents, Vivian and Felix, all showed up at his office, confused. I was already there, sitting calmly in the conference room. What's this about? My father asked. Howard slid folders across the table, one for each of them. When Otto Wells passed away 5 years ago, his estate was distributed according to his will. Most of you received inheritances, modest ones. Vivian opened her folder. I got $50,000. Correct, Howard said. Felix frowned. I got 75. Also correct. My parents looked at their folders. We each received 200,000. Howard nodded. Then he slid a much thicker folder toward me. Aurora received the remainder of the estate. My mother blinked. How much was the remainder? I answered. $2 billion. The room went silent, dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. My father stared at me. That's not possible. It's very possible, Howard said, opening documents. Otto specifically designated Aurora as his primary heir. The trust activated on her 30th birthday. She's been a billionaire for 5 years. Felix stood up so fast his chair fell over. This is insane. Why would he leave her everything? Because she was the only one who visited him without asking for money, I said calmly. Vivian's face was red. You've had $2 billion this whole time? Yes. And you didn't tell us? No. My mother looked like she was calculating something. So, when we offered to help you at lunch, I didn't need help. I never did. My father's voice was tight. This is unacceptable. We're contesting this. Howard smiled. You can try, but Otto's will is airtight. Aurora is the legal owner of the estate. There's nothing to contest. Vivian leaned forward. Why? Why would you hide this from us? I looked at each of them. Because I wanted to see who you really were. And you showed me. That's manipulative, Felix said. No, that's honest. I stood up. You've spent 5 years treating me like I was worthless, pitying me, insulting me, making jokes about my choices. My voice didn't shake. Now you know the truth. I was never the failure. You were just cruel. My mother tried to salvage it. Aurora, honey, we didn't mean... Yes, you did. I looked at her directly. You've meant every word, every look, every dismissive comment. You believed I was less than you. My father stood. We're your family. Family doesn't treat each other like that. Vivian's hands were shaking. So what now? You just wanted to humiliate us? No, I wanted you to understand something. I picked up my bag. Money doesn't make you better than anyone. Character does, and none of you have it. Felix pointed at me. You're a hypocrite. You've been lying to us for 5 years. I wasn't lying. I just didn't correct your assumptions. I walked toward the door. Oh, and one more thing. The buildings you lease, I own them. The investments you're proud of, I control the companies you work with. You've been orbiting my money this whole time without knowing it. I left before they could respond. Howard followed me out. That went well, he said dryly. I smiled. For the first time in years, I felt free. My family exploded after that meeting. group chats I was removed from, phone calls I didn't answer. My mother showed up at my apartment. I didn't let her in. She stood in the hallway, crying. "Please, Aurora, let's talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. We made mistakes, but we're still your family. You stopped being my family when you stopped seeing me as a person?" She left eventually. My father sent emails, long ones, explaining how they'd always loved me. They just expressed it poorly. I didn't respond. Vivian tried the guilt route. "Grandfather would be disappointed in how you're handling this." I replied once. "Grandfather chose me for a reason. Maybe think about why he didn't choose you." Felix went silent, just disappeared. I heard through mutual connections he was furious, that he'd tried to find legal loopholes. There were none. The money was mine. It had always been mine, and I was finally going to use it the way I wanted. Over the next 6 months, I restructured my life. Publicly. I quit teaching, not because I had to, but because I wanted to focus on my foundation. The Otto Wells Foundation for Arts Education. $50 million to start. $100 million the next year. I hired a team, built programs, created opportunities for kids like I used to be. Kids who loved art but came from families that didn't see the value. My face started appearing in press releases. Anonymous donor revealed as Aurora Wells, granddaughter of tech investor Otto Wells. My family saw the articles. I know because my mother called. "You're in the news." "I am." "This foundation, it's beautiful work." "Thank you." A pause. "I didn't know you cared so much about this." "You never asked?" She hung up quietly. I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt tired. Tired of wishing they'd been different. Tired of hoping they'd change. They were who they were, and I was finally okay with being someone else. A year after the revelation, Felix reached out, not to apologize, to ask for money. "Aurora, I'm in a tough spot. I made some bad investments. I need $200,000. I read the message 3 times. "No. Come on, we're family. Family doesn't treat family like you treated me. I'll pay you back." "I don't want you to pay me back. I want you to understand why I'm saying no." He never responded. Vivian tried a different approach. She invited me to lunch. I went, curious. She apologized, said she'd been jealous, insecure, competitive. "I see that now," she said, "and I'm sorry." I wanted to believe her, but her eyes kept darting to my watch, my bag, the subtle markers of wealth I'd started wearing. She wasn't sorry I'd been hurt. She was sorry she'd miscalculated. "I appreciate the apology," I said, "but we're not going to be close again." "Why not?" "Because you don't love me. You love what I have." She left angry. I left at peace. My parents tried therapy, family therapy. They asked me to join. I said no 3 times. On the 4th ask, I agreed. We sat in a neutral office with a therapist named Dr. Brennan who looked way too young for this job. "Let's start with why we're here," she said. My father spoke first. "Our family has had some financial revelations, and it's created distance." That was one way to put it. My mother added, "We want to repair our relationship with Aurora." Dr. Brennan looked at me. "Aurora, how do you feel about that?" "I don't think they want to repair anything. I think they want access." "That's not fair," Vivian said. She'd come too, uninvited but present. I looked at her. "You didn't speak to me for 3 years except to ask for donations. Felix only texts when he needs money. Mom and Dad show up when it's convenient." My father interrupted. "We made mistakes." "You didn't make mistakes. You made choices. You chose to see me as less than you. For years. And now that you know I'm not, you want to rewrite history." Silence. Dr. Brennan wrote something down. The session ended early. 2 years after revealing the money, I bought a house. Not a mansion. A beautiful, normal 4-bedroom home with a garden and space to paint. I hosted exactly 1 family dinner. My parents came, Vivian came, Felix didn't. They walked through my home like it was a museum, touching things carefully, commenting on the art. "This is lovely, Aurora," my mother said. "Thank you." "And you did all this yourself?" "I had help." "But yes." My father looked uncomfortable. "It's more than we expected." Of course it was. They expected me to live small forever. We ate dinner in strained silence. Vivian tried to make conversation. How's the foundation going? Good. We're expanding into 12 new cities. That's amazing. It is. My mother set down her fork. Aurora, I need to ask, will you ever forgive us? I thought about it honestly. I don't know. Maybe. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean things go back to how they were. What does it mean then? It means we move forward differently, with boundaries, with honesty, with respect. My father nodded slowly. It was the most honest conversation we'd ever had. 3 years post-revelation, my family had split. Felix and I didn't speak. He'd married Colette and moved to California. I heard he was doing fine. Not great, but fine. Vivian and I had a distant relationship. Polite emails, occasional coffee, surface-level conversations that never went deep. She'd learned I wasn't going to fund her lifestyle, so she stopped asking. My parents tried the hardest. They came to foundation events, sent articles they thought I'd like, called just to check in. It felt performative at first, but slowly, over months, it started feeling real. My mother stopped talking about success and started asking about my paintings. My father stopped giving career advice and started just listening. It wasn't perfect. Some wounds don't heal cleanly. But it was something. More than we'd had before. I'd rebuilt my life on my terms. And they were learning to be part of it without controlling it. That was growth. The foundation became my life. We'd helped over 10,000 students in 3 years, built 20 art centers, funded programs in 40 states. I worked with the team daily, visited schools, met kids whose eyes lit up when they talked about painting or sculpture or photography. This was what money was for. Not designer clothes or luxury cars. Not proving anything to anyone. Just creating opportunities for people who deserved them. My grandfather would have been proud. I knew because I'd read his letters. The ones he'd left me with the trust. Use this to build something that matters, he wrote. Not for glory, for good. I was trying. Every day. One student, one program, one life at a time. And unlike my family's success, which was loud and performative and always seeking validation, mine was quiet, real, and wholly mine. 4 years after everything changed, Vivian called with news. Felix wants to apologize. Really apologize. Okay. Would you be willing to meet with him? I thought about it. Yes, but on neutral ground, and I'm not promising anything. We met at a coffee shop. Felix looked different, older, less arrogant. He sat across from me and just started talking. I was jealous of you my entire life. I blinked. That wasn't what I expected. What? You were grandfather's favorite. Everyone knew it, and I hated you for it. Felix, let me finish. He took a breath. I spent years trying to prove I was better than you, richer, more successful, more important. And when you turned out to have more money than all of us, it destroyed me. His voice cracked. Because I realized grandfather didn't choose you because of potential. He chose you because of character. And I don't have that. I didn't know what to say. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything except for you to know I'm sorry. I was cruel, and I can't take it back. But I see it now. I believed him. Thank you for saying that. Can we start over? No, but we can start somewhere new. 5 years after grandfather died, I did something unexpected. I gave each of my siblings $1 million. Not because they asked, not because I owed them, because I wanted to. Howard thought I was crazy. Aurora, after everything they did, it's not for them, it's for me. I don't want to be the person who holds grudges forever. Vivian cried when she got the check. I don't deserve this. No, but I'm giving it anyway, Felix called me. Aurora, I can't accept this. You can. Use it well. My parents didn't get money. They got something better. A scholarship program in their name. The Wells Family Scholarship for medical students from low-income families. 20 students a year. Full ride. They cried when I told them. Real tears. Why? My mother asked. Because you taught me what not to do. And sometimes that's just as valuable. It wasn't forgiveness, not completely, but it was grace. And that felt right. I'm 39 now. The The foundation has helped over 50,000 students. We've built infrastructure, changed lives, created opportunities. My family and I have dinner once a month. It's still awkward sometimes. Old wounds don't disappear just because you want them to. But there's respect now, honesty, boundaries. Vivian runs her own firm now, successful on her own terms. Felix started a nonprofit, small but meaningful. My parents volunteer with the foundation. They're good at it, better than I expected. We're not the family we used to be. We're something different, something quieter, more real. I date now, carefully, slowly. I'm not hiding my money anymore, but I'm not leading with it either. I want someone who loves me for me, like grandfather did. I paint every day, big canvases, bright colors, art that makes me happy. My apartment is full of them. My life is full, and I'm happy, really happy. Not because I proved anything to anyone, because I finally proved something to myself. People ask me sometimes if I regret hiding the money for so long. I don't. Those 5 years taught me everything I needed to know. About my family, about myself, about what really matters. My family treated me like I was worthless because they thought I had nothing. And when they found out I had everything, they tried to rewrite history. Some people changed, some didn't. But I learned that my worth was never tied to their perception. I was enough before the money, during the hiding, after the reveal. The money just gave me options, freedom, the ability to help others. But it didn't make me who I am. My choices did. My character did. The way I treated people when I had nothing to gain from them, that's what mattered. And I'd do it all again. The hiding, the watching, the waiting. Because truth is always worth the patience it takes to find it. I hid $2 billion from my family for 5 years. And the day they insulted me one too many times, I stopped hiding. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it for clarity, to see who they were without the filter of money. And they showed me. Some people love you for you. Some people love you for what you have. My family loved the idea of me, but only when I fit their definition of success. When I didn't, I was disposable. Until I wasn't. Now we're rebuilding. Slowly. Carefully. With honesty instead of performance. It's not perfect, but it's real. So if your family makes you feel small, remember this. You don't need their approval to be whole. You don't need their validation to matter. You just need to know yourself, trust yourself, build yourself. I did. And I'm not just surviving their expectations anymore. I'm thriving beyond them. That's not revenge, that's freedom. And freedom is priceless, even when you have $2 billion.